Hello there, folks. Dan here from Organic Digital. We're just trying to sync up all of these live streams here. We've got Facebook on one side, we've got Instagram here as well, because I wanted to make it as time efficient as possible with this book, well, with our live stream today, because we're doing a book review and it's a little bit different. And I don't want to have to try and do it twice because I've never done this before. But I wanted to jump on and talk about my favorite marketing book that I'm recommending to everyone lately. It's something that we've used to build all of our client strategy as well as our own strategies and reshape really how we market and portray our business, both in Facebook advertising but just online in general. The book, I'll give you the heads up, is called Story Brand. It's by a guy named Donald Miller, and it's I've got both the hard copy, the audio version, which he reads himself, which is good. I think I might even have the Kindle version as well, just to cover all bases. But I recommend this book to everyone, and this is how we build a Facebook advertising strategy. To give you a little bit of a rundown on to what it is and why it's a little bit different, I'm going to read the back little blurb for you, so you can get a bit of a understanding of it. All right, here we go. It's a little bit weird, looks like I'm reading a book, a bedtime story to people that are watching. All right, every day, most business leaders make a mistake that costs them money. They don't explain clearly what it is their company does. The Story Brand Framework is a paradigm-shifting approach to connecting with customers that provides the ultimate competitive advantage, revealing the secret to helping customers understand the benefits of using your products, ideas, or services. Building a story brand teaches 1. The 7 universal story points all humans respond to, the real reason customers make purchases, how to simplify a brand message so people understand and act on it, how to create the most effective messaging for websites, brochures, and social media. Building a story brand will forever transform the way you talk about who you are, what you do, and the unique value that you bring to your customers. So that's Story Brand by Donald Miller. The reason why we use this framework to build a Facebook advertising strategy, there's a number of reasons actually. The reason why it's different is that Donald Miller basically takes the story flow or the story structure of pretty much every movie, TV show, screenwriting, book, whatever it is, and puts it into a brand story. And the reason why it's important to tell your brand story online is that people are more and more looking for a deeper connection with their brands that they're interacting with, and brands that can talk to people in the way that they want to be heard and that resonates with them are going to stand head and shoulders above every other brand out there. So if you think of he goes through the steps, pretty much the same elements that when you watch any sort of movie, and particularly the really big Oscar-winning movies, have this great structure where I'll go through sort of the 7 steps that he goes through, but you'll recognize them in everything. Can I give you a couple of examples? So first of all, with every structure, you might have also heard this structure as well in A Hero's Journey, which was a book by, I can't remember the guy, but he basically did the same thing where he analysed all these different movies, books, everything out there, and how you use this structure. Basically, it's a similar structure. You've got a character. There's always a main character. That character has a problem. They have a couple of different problems. There's a problem that's external, there's an internal problem, and there's more of a philosophical problem. That character then meets a guide, basically someone who shows them how they're going to overcome those obstacles and gives them a plan to do so. That guide then gives them a call to action that basically ends in success and helps them avoid failure. At the end of that resolution, though, not only have they solved those 3 different levels of problems, or the main 2 different levels of problems, which are external and internal problems, the viewer comes away from really good stories and really good movies, knowing or realizing how they've solved more of the philosophical problem, so the bigger problem that they've got. So, for instance, if you take one of my favorite movies, Star Wars, for instance, you've got Luke Skywalker, right? He's the main character. in Return of the Jedi. Luke Skywalker, his problem is that he needs to overcome evil with Darth Vader and the Republic. That's the external problem that he needs to overcome, basically the dark side. Internally, he doubts himself as to whether he can actually do it. Philosophically, the problem that is overcome at the end of it is that good can overcome bad at the end of the movie. So philosophically, in a broader base world, Luke Skywalker helps the Resistance realize that they can defeat the dark side and they can defeat Darth Vader. Of course, his guide is Yoda, that gives him a plan and gives him a guide to basically show him the steps that he needs to take to overcome those problems. So how does this sort of then resonate to, or how does he then flip that into how businesses themselves tell their brand story? Because the main difference and the thing that stood out to me the most was that when we're talking about that main character, most businesses and most marketers out there think that the main character is them, as in the business themselves. Whereas the main character in all of the stories and all of the marketing that we're trying to tell, the main character is the customer, the potential client. They're the main character in our story and we are the guide. So when we're telling our brand story, we're trying to tell people how to overcome their external problems, their internal problems, and more of the philosophical, bigger world. I know it's a little bit woo-woo, but how do they overcome those problems? And we're the guide that gives them clear set of steps to overcome those problems, and calls them to action that basically ends in success at the end of it, and avoids that failure. There's nothing like having that threat of losing something is actually scientifically proven to be more powerful than having the ability to gain something. So the reason why stories are so important to our marketing is a great quote in the book. I'm not sure whether he said it or he got it from someone else, I can't remember, but stories make music out of noise. So if you can think about it, I love playing drums, but I can't play the drums. I make a lot of noise. Whereas a good drummer, he can make music out of those drums. Or a good guitarist, I can do whatever I want and I can bang and crash on guitars, drums. I can sing really badly as well and I can make a lot of noise. But good musicians and good artists can make music out of that noise. Well, good marketers can make stories out of all of that marketing noise that they see out there. An example of this that he mentioned in a book that was really interesting was Apple. Before, when Steve Jobs was doing the majority of the marketing before he got fired the first time, the advertisement that they took in one of the major newspapers, remember this is back in the 70s and 80s, was a 9-page advertisement that basically went through all of the in-detailed the capabilities of it, all of the tech mumbo jumbo, why it was better than any other machine or anything else out there, and it was 9 pages of noise. And then if you fast forward to when Steve Jobs went to Pixar, learned how to tell stories properly and have that Disney aspect, and then came back to Apple after that, one of their most popular or most successful advertisements was just 1 page in the newspaper and it said 2 words: think different. And it was just a really simple way to tell what their brand, what their story stood for, and what they help their main character, that hero who is a customer, overcome their external and internal problems. So the reason why I love this book is that he goes through each of the elements that you need to come up with. Not only does he explain how to use them, he also gives you an online tool as well that you can build your own story brand, and you can actually go through and fill out each element as well. And you can save, you can print it off as PDFs, you can do all of the workshopping and take notes. I do this with clients to basically when I'm coming up with a Facebook advertising strategy and with myself, I look at the problems that they're solving. So both the external, internal, and philosophical problems, and then I talk about what messages are we going to put out there from the brand that's going to overcome those problems. It's a much longer process than a lot of people actually realize when they're trying to think about how am I going to portray my brand online. Coming up with the messages in a clearly defined way that passes the grunt test, which is basically if you put your advertisement or your website or your whatever it is in front of a caveman, he could basically grunt what you do. So, Facebook ads. You do Facebook ads well. I want Facebook advertising. Here is how I contact you. If I was to use my own business as an example. Some other sort of examples that you can think about and that he mentions in the book about how it's getting through to what the customer ultimately desires. So there's the external problems that might be those immediate problems such as time, pain, money, all of the immediate problems. But realistically, once you get into the internal thoughts that they're having and the more philosophical problems that they're having and that they really want to solve, that's when you can make music out of your marketing noise. So, for instance, some of the different industries he talks about, if you're a financial advisor, your motto could be a plan for your retirement. If you're a fine dining restaurant, a meal everybody will remember. Real estate, the home you've always dreamed about. Bookstore, a story to get lost in. A travel resort, find the luxury and rest you've been looking for. A landscaper, I really like this one. A yard that looks better than your neighbours. So coming up with a simple sentence that basically encapsulates everything that you do and gets through to the heart of what the customer is looking for is the backbone of StoryBrand and Donald Miller. It's a fascinating book. I really highly recommend that you purchase, have a read, listen, however you consume books these days, and go through the steps and think about how you're portraying your brand out in the public to customers and how you can get them to take action. I'll put the links to Amazon, or you can buy it wherever you want, but you can basically, Amazon's probably the easiest spot for the moment. It's not an affiliate link or anything. I just recommend that you go through and get it. If you would like to ask any questions more about it, or to go through a process like this and like we do with our customers, and our clients, then by all means reach out either in the comments on Instagram or on Facebook as well. I'll be there more than happy to chat more. Also, final reminder as well, next week starts our Facebook advertising workshop series from Wednesday the 21st of March is the beginners level, and every second week after that as well. I will put the links to that. I would love to see you there. It's an in-person event in Fairfield here in Victoria as well. There are limited tickets, and the first session next Wednesday is going fast. There's 2 times, 9:30 and 6 p.m. as well, and I've sold a few tickets to either of those. So if you do want to secure a ticket, then I highly recommend you jump online and get those now. Early bird pricing also finishes on Wednesday as well. So there's another call to action for you. Looking forward to helping you more with your Facebook advertising and growing your business and making better Facebook ads out there. I'll chat to you soon. Bye for now.